Let me guess, you're constantly battling the unique demands of shift work, aren't you? Feeling relentless fatigue, brain fog, or the health challenges that come with those irregular hours. Well, it's time to stop just surviving your shifts and really start thriving. At A Healthy Shift, we're revolutionising workplace wellbeing for 24/7 teams. As a veteran shift worker for over 40 years, I know exactly what you're up against, and that's why we've built something truly groundbreaking, the seminar experience. Now, this isn't just the keynote, it's a completely new evidence-based program which is designed to empower entire shift-working workforces. I want you to imagine your team armed with the strategies to optimise their sleep, boost their energy, and elevate their health, no matter what schedule they're on. Our core keynote is powerful, but we also offer specialised add-on workshops, which cover deep dives into women in shift work, how to work your own roster optimally, as well as fatigue management for managers. We need your help to bring this transformation to your workplace. Managers want to invest in their teams, but they need to know that we exist. Are you ready to bring real, lasting change to your colleagues and your organisation? Go and visit ahealthyshift.com. That's ahealthyshift.com and follow the seminar experience link up the top, where you can download our detailed e-brochure, or you can simply follow the link in the show notes. Let's help your workforce thrive, not just survive.
You know you want to. It's all about law enforcement. What's happening in the world, we'll find out with the great man. Come and be part of it. 133 693. Roger Sutherland, regular contributor for how long now, Rog?
2 years.
We've been getting it away for 2 years. Roger, a former police officer, worked with the dogs for a long time. How many years with the dogs?
17 years I was with the dogs.
How many dogs did you coach?
5.
Do they love you still?
Well, yes. They would. If they were still around, maybe. But they're all gone. They've all gone to the big kennel in the sky.
Roger is a veteran law enforcement officer. How many decades?
4 decades.
And outstanding in many, many ways. These days, it's all about shift work and issues related to shift work. And we all like a really good shift. Workers and the energy to do things just amazing, really, outside their shift working lives. So we talk about all of that and a little bit of law and order. If you'd like to be part of the program, we've cleared the lines. You'll get through straight away after Dennis's program here on 3AW 133 693 is the number 133 693. The text line, unfortunately, is still for whatever reason not working. And so hopefully it will be back on deck later today. That will be the plan. And if not, Jackson and I will come in and we will repair it manually. Do you have any idea how that would work, Jackson? No.
No, I think
Why
we're
don't
better
we just
off
give your
asking for
mobile
letters.
number out?
Yeah,
They can
that's
text
right.
you.
Just text me on
Just
my
text
personal
Tony.
mobile.
Just text Tony.
How do you think that'd go? Just fantastic. Although we could do it to yours, Jackson.
Oh, yeah, why not?
That's right. Send it to yours. You'd be inundated from around Australia. Roger, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Well, more importantly, you spent a bit of time with the briefly, and I know you wanted. There's probably things part of the conversation you're going to talk about, but you had the ear of the commish here in Victoria. You were impressed. You were delighted, and he listened.
I actually rang you afterwards, didn't I?
You did. You were excited.
I was really keen. I was at the Police Association's retirement dinner. It was my retirement dinner. Well, when I say mine, it was one of 246 people that retired.
246.
Yeah, people that retired. They're people that have done over 25 years that were invited to the event. The chief is normally invited. My understanding is the chief doesn't normally attend, but Mike Bush wanted to go. He wanted to observe. He wanted to listen. And he was sitting just behind us and he was watching very interestingly. He ended up coming and standing near our table. We got to have a chat. As you know, I've had my struggles exiting VicPol. We've talked about that. But Mike noticed that I was standing in the group, turned, looked at me, put his hand out, shook my hand and said, Mike Bush, introduced himself to me. And then he pulled me in and said, how long did you do, Roger? And I said, I did 40 years. And he pulled me in further and he said, thank you for your service.
Yeah, wow.
And that just meant absolutely everything to me. It was just, I can't tell you as an ex, and an ex is always an ex for a long time, obviously, but it just meant so much because the issues that happened to me wasn't under his watch, and it just meant a lot. He's just got an aura about him. He's a very good man, I think, Mike Bush.
That's a fantastic story.
Yes, I think he's going to be a good man.
And I think, and I hope I'm not talking out of school here, he made the point as he was talking to other retirees, albeit a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but with some sort of sense of possibility, would you come back? Would you like to come back?
I think most of the people that he actually spoke to on that night, when he found out, like he would say after 40 years, he said, do you want to come back? I think, and I don't know this, this is not something that he said to me, but I think you're going to find that just reading the tea leaves at the moment with the way he's talking, I wouldn't mind betting there's going to be an advertising campaign over the next 12 months to try and encourage ex-police to come back and sit in the stations and do, not the admin, but to do answer the phones and do the watch house counter and things like that so that these stations can reopen. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a superintendent the other day. His son's in the police, and he was saying that he turns up for work and he's busting his chops. He wants to get out on the truck, he wants to get out on the van and go out and patrol, and he gets there and then he finds out that someone's gone sick, so he's got to stay in and work the watch house. Well, that's just don't get me wrong, but when we can have ex-police that would be happy to do something along those lines, go in, answer phones, do watch house counter duties, why not? Even if you got 100 to do it, that's 100 more police that are back out on the road.
What about the costs associated with things like lawn mowing? A little birdie said to me, no names, no pactual, but made the point that even things like grass cutting around police stations all around the state. Now, this might no doubt would apply in other states as well, I would assume. I don't know, but I'm thinking there might be some issues around that. That to get the lawns mowed or get the gardens kept, to get the offices clean, the budget is zero.
I can absolutely categorically tell you, I live in Avondale Heights, and I know the Avondale Heights police station lawns are being mowed by a local Italian man who can't stand seeing it growing because the budget's been cut to all of the all of the police stations. There's just no money left to mow the lawns and maintain the places, so they're being done by members of the public.
No surprise to most.
No surprise
that we just, in that sense, it's not an issue. It's not a priority.
No,
and we're broke.
Horribly broke. We're horribly broke, and I think Victoria Police is running on a budget at the moment that is, we know because it's been spoken about so often, that we have 1,000 members off, positions off. What happens when they return? Who's paying them? How are they paying them? What are they doing about it? I think we're in a bit of a mess at the moment, but I have a lot of faith in what Mike Bush has been talking about at the moment. To me, and I know it's very early days, but he's got the Mick Millers about him.
Yeah,
going back.
Love that expression. He's got the Mick Millers about him. Yeah. A good thing.
It's a very, very good thing. I graduated under Mick Miller in 1984, and he was an extremely highly thought of
leader.
Really highly thought of leader. I get the feeling that Mike Bush he's got a bit of the Mick Millers about him. He's got that tall stature. He's very clean. He's got when I say clean, he's clean shaven. He's just a really clean. He's a good man. Yeah. I think he's going to be a really good man.
So, as you say the name Mick Miller, I instantly think of, remember we'd had registration stickers on our car?
Yes.
I reckon his name was on registration stickers at that time, as was the Commissioner of Police.
Could have been. It could have been. When we had the rego labels.
Yeah, the rego labels.
God, there's something to talk about. The rego labels
the old
on
registration
cars.
labels.
We used to drive around looking to see what month it was so that you could see if it had expired. It was an orange 7, so you knew it expired in July. Oh, God. Now you're
Registration.
going back.
I know. Registration labels, they were a thing. And
They
even
were.
putting them on your car, your first car, maybe your second car, get him, and then scraping them off when the new one
Or people
came
will have
in.
them lined all the way
I
up the
know.
windscreen as well. They keep them going.
We've got a very
Fantastic.
special guest coming up from Ireland. We're going to cross over to Ireland very
We
shortly.
are.
It's Tom Coleman.
I'm very, very excited to have Tom on the show tonight.
What do we need to know briefly about Tom before we get him
Tom
up?
is a sleep expert, a worldwide sleep expert, and he brings amazing insight into the architecture of sleep for us. Now, we don't want him to be too effective, obviously, because we want people to listen to the
stay
show,
awake,
but we
yeah.
want people to understand that how we can go about sleep and what the problem is with it.
He's in Dublin. We'll get him on the line. This is Australia Overnight. I'm Tony McManus. Roger Sutherland is here. The segment is called A Healthy Shift. We look at some law and order issues, but we really look at how important it is to get the right rest, the right diet, if you like, around those that work shift work right across Australia. Come and join us wherever you are. 1333 693. Hello, wherever you are, right across Australia. Tony McManus is here. That's moi, the one and only Roger Sutherland, A Healthy Shift. And we've got a very special guest. Let me introduce Tom Coleman, who is a sleep expert. He's from Dublin.
From Dublin.
He's a good boy. The cost of insomnia is insufficient sleep business. It costs the world, if you like, untold amount of money, insomnia and the lack of sleep for a range of reasons, which no doubt he might explain.
He will.
Insomnia, for example, costs the average US worker about 11.3 days, $2,280 lost productivity every year, productivity.
Each individual.
So it's a major issue. He's been talking about it for a long time. He's known as a sleep and health consultant. And from you, Tom, he's a great bloke.
Tremendous man.
Tom Coleman, I'm Tony Mack. You know Roger. Hello and welcome to Australia Overnight, Tom.
It's wonderful to be online with you guys. Thank you very much for having me.
How did you become involved, Tommy?
I initially worked in nutrition. I qualified as a health scientist about 17 years ago. I got to work with very high-level elite athletes, and I became obsessed really with recovery. And I asked the question, what has the biggest impact on recovery? And much to my surprise at the time, the answer came back as sleep. And from that then, I worked alongside a US company called Fatigue Science, where I was analysing the sleep of elite athletes, and I could correlate that with reaction times and mental fatigue. So that was about 10, 11 years ago. And since that, all I've been speaking about is the power of sleep.
Now, Tom, over the years now, particularly over the last few years, a lot of sports teams like the NBL or the NBA, as well as the Aussie Socceroos as well, are really focusing on getting this circadian alignment and getting their sleep right, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, look, the Australian Institute of Sport, they're a global leader, and from what I know, they're focusing more on the recovery aspect and the sleep aspect. I mean, the science on strength and conditioning, on training, on nutrition, on all of that is pretty well laid out. And there are many percentages to be gained then when we start looking at something like sleep, because sleep isn't the 1 or 2%, it's the foundation that performance is built upon, really.
Yeah, and look, we're in a big country here because we have listeners from West Australia here as well as in Victoria, which are on opposite sides of the country. And we have our sports teams travelling backwards and forwards across 3 time zones. And this impacts greatly, but a lot of teams are now focusing on making sure that they get their circadian alignment right. Can you just talk a bit about that for us, Tom, about how and why this is so important for performance?
A quick pause from today's topic for something vital for every shift worker. That's right, that's you. Now, you know the relentless grind, constant fatigue, struggles with sleep, and that feeling your energy just isn't where it should be. And this is a common story in 24/7 roles, but it just doesn't have to be your workforces. At A Healthy Shift, I've combined 4 decades of frontline experience with cutting-edge science to create the seminar experience. Now, this isn't just a basic workshop. It's a comprehensive, game-changing program that is built to give entire workforces actionable strategies that they need to truly master their well-being on any schedule. and they're implemented immediately. Now, beyond the powerful core keynote, I offer specialised add-on workshops which dive deep into women in shift work, fatigue management, and how to work your own roster. Now, these tools empower your colleagues to thrive, improve performance, and boost their health, helping your organisation to retain valuable staff. Now, if you believe your workforce deserves better, speak up, because your managers won't know about this vital resource. Click the link in the show notes, download the e-brochure, and put it up the line. Invest in your team's most valuable asset, their health.
Absolutely. When I worked with Fatigue Science, they had just started working with the Chicago Cubs and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series for the first time in 106 years, the year after they started tracking their sleep. And the same with the Seattle Seahawks. They actually won the Super Bowl the year after the full team started to analyse the travel, the circadian disruption, and to start to put strategies in place. So your circadian rhythm, I mean, the word circadian means circa is approximately and dian is a day, approximately a day. And every human, animal, plant and system on Earth has a circadian rhythm. So it really is about biology and strategy. It doesn't just govern your sleep, it governs everything from digestion to concentration levels, all of your hormones, different processes that happen over approximately 24 hours. And it's a two-way communication, right? So although it is internally driven, we can certainly help align and realign our circadian rhythm. And that's where the little bit of knowledge for the shift worker, for example, or the sports performance person is really critical.
Yeah, it's super important. What is the architecture of good sleep, Tom? Like people say, "Oh, I'm just not a good sleeper." Can you just elaborate on when someone says they're not a good sleeper? I've got an answer for that. I'm sure you've got a better answer.
Well, my answer to that is it's a skill we learn. It's the first thing is the narrative, Roger. Right? It's like if you keep repeating that, well, of course it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. Now, there are genetics and chronotypes we can talk about that certainly influence, but you know the expression of those genes and the expression is a different story altogether. But sleep is a skill. Many of the issues that people have is their inability to wind down and an inability to work with their circadian rhythm and understand that and apply that then in the real world. So I suppose the first thing is change the narrative and be open to trying different things with sleep. And it takes time as well. This is the thing. I mean, if I made a suggestion to you, and I've done this in the past and around sleep, and this guy said, I tried that, it didn't work. I said, how many times did you try it? And he was like, well, once. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't go to the gym once and say, well, that didn't work, did it? Right? So we have to give it a chance.
Absolutely.
It's an intriguing thing on the basis that hosting an overnight radio program, Tom, daily people will say, oh, how do you go with the sleep? And I have a tendency to be a bit glib, and I know I shouldn't, but I will often make the comment, it's not like I'm going down the coal mines. In other words, it's a pretty good job, and you manage what you have to do when you eat, when you shower, when you, frankly, when you go to the bathroom. You've got to manage all that, except that you're doing it in the night hours.
Exactly, absolutely.
But it does have to be managed.
It does have to be managed. I think what happens to people, is they float along. They kind of fall into the river of life or a job like that and think, oh, this is great. And they don't put any strategies in place. And they just they're burning the candle then at both ends maybe. So I think, understanding the mechanics of sleep, like exactly how it works, can really help. You talk about melatonin secretion and something called sleep pressure. This is what puts you to sleep. But we have to kind of build a bridge to that, and we have to understand that we sleep in 90-minute cycles, for example. We have to use naps strategically. When should I take a 10, 20, 30-minute nap? Or maybe I need a a 90-minute nap here prior to heading into a night shift. So it's kind of understanding these things, nutrition, food. I mean, all of these systems speak to each other. Every system has a timer. In fact, every cell in your body has a timer. So you entrain this. And I suppose it's understanding the rhythm of your work. Energy management is another huge thing that I speak about, mental energy and physical energy. So it's understanding these kind of concepts. And actually it's empowering because then you can actually do something about your lack of energy, your fatigue, or your lack of sleep.
I tell people one of the most important things to note is that your body is dictating the time, not the clock on the wall. And I think this is the most important thing for people to understand. Do you agree with that theory, Tom?
Absolutely, because we have the societal clock, which doesn't actually work for, it works for a certain cohort. It doesn't work for everyone. But we have to understand our biological clock. Exactly correct, Roger. And that's understanding that your body takes a little bit of time to realign and catch up. We cannot just switch off and switch on. And that's the thing. And that's the struggle maybe for the shift worker. They're at work and they feel like, oh man, I could fall asleep. And they're at home when they should be sleeping maybe, and they're struggling. They're rolling around the bed like a rotisserie chicken. But again, there are things that we can set up that will ultimately really help us downregulate and switch off and achieve sleep. And even if you do wake up, and this is a huge one again, it's the wake episodes that people will experience.
Tom Coleman, our very special guest, is in Dublin as we speak. It's a thrill to have him on board talking about the ideas. And when we come back, Tom, we might talk about the idea of the pressures that puts on family friends. I mean, you look at AMBOs across Australia, you look at police across Australia, nursing hospitals, doctors, surgeons, all working across a 24-hour period. What strain does that put on family and family life? We'll talk about that. You can jump on board if you have a question you'd like to put to Tom Coleman while we're live from Dublin, 133-693 is our number. Come and join us. Roger Sutherland is here, part of Australia Overnight and a regular contributor from A Healthy Shift. Our very special guest is Tom Coleman, a sleep expert, sleep and health consultant based in Ireland. Do you ever get away from Dublin, Tom?
I do indeed, yeah. I get to travel around a bit. Thankfully now I was in Milan last week talking about sleep. I'm in Dubai in November, so it's turning into a global job for me, which is great.
So exciting, Tom. I love seeing this from you, going out there, spreading the good word. I wanted to ask you a question, if I can, to help our listeners here. People say, oh, I'm not a good sleeper and I can't sleep. Can you give us some strategies that when a person wakes up in the middle of the night, like you've been asleep, you wake up in the middle of the night and you start to get those racing thoughts and you can't sleep?
Sure.
What should you do, Tom?
Sure. Absolutely. Okay, so the first thing to understand is that wake episodes, as we refer to them as, are very common. They're happening for a reason. When you fall asleep initially, you're going to have more time in deep sleep. And then as your sleep goes on, it gets lighter and also the sleep pressure drops. So it's very understandable to wake up. And especially if you get into the habit, you can inadvertently train your brain. So the first thing is don't give yourself a hard time. Because what does everyone do? Grab the phone, check the time, get blinded by the light, do the calculation and get stressed out, okay?
And start the committee meeting in the head. Everyone starts the committee meeting.
Absolutely. So we're hardwired to worry. I mean, the reason we're successful as a species is we can look into the future and predict danger. Now, unless you give your brain some chewing gum, I call it cognitive chewing gum, guess what it's going to do? It's going to go towards the to-do list tomorrow or what somebody said to you in work earlier or whatever it may be, worry. So I would say, to reframe it for you, don't focus on getting back to sleep. Focus on relaxation. Because there's no end point to that, really. Whereas if you say, I have to get back to sleep, then you're setting a limit on it. So I would recommend something like a visualization exercise, like I love going trekking, so I would imagine myself there. Give your mind a simple task like that and come back to the body. And sleep will then arrive. Sleep will then come. And this takes a little time maybe to practice. Because, as I said, you could have inadvertently trained your brain to wake you up.
Very good. I've got another one too. Imagine yourself stepping into an elevator and the elevator going down and counting the floors as it's going down. So you step into an elevator and then you just imagine it going down, close your eyes, and you can feel the sensation of the elevator going down, 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 down. You rarely get to the bottom. You rarely get to the bottom. It's what you're saying is right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the US military train all their recruits on how to fall asleep quickly, and they report a 98% success rate after 6 weeks, not 2 nights, after 6 weeks. But it's something you can train and get really, really good at. So, yeah.
Clumsily, I made the point the cost to community and to businesses across Australia, if you like, Tom, across the world, but across Australia, would be horrendous because, for the most part, my assertion would be issues around sleep and fatigue have not been addressed as much as they should have been.
No, I mean, look, it's a business leak. If you have sleep issues, it's often just seen as a well-being issue. It's like the alarm is going off. See, sleep is the result of how we're living our life. It's a barometer to see how well you're dealing with stress. And like a person comes to me and says, "Oh, I've got sleep issues," and they're stressed out of their mind, and they've got 2 phones, they're checking emails at night, relationship builds. I mean, they don't really. They have lifestyle choice issues, boundary issues, and an organisation can have these issues, and that's like the alarm going off, right? That there's deeper issues there, and they want me to stop the sound of the alarm while the building is on fire. So I think if you look at all the other stuff, because I've worked with people individually. I don't look at their sleep. Essentially, I ask them a lot of questions about how they're living their life. And then if I move things out of the way, guess what? The sleep comes right. And then everything else improves. But, I mean, there's a lot of research out there from McKinsey on it, from Deloitte. So these, they reckon you can save up to $3,500 per employee annually if you have a sleep program in your organisation.
Say hello to Nev in Leongatha. Nev, Mike Coleman's on air, and you can ask him a question. What have you got?
Good morning, gentlemen. Everybody. I've been diagnosed with sleep apnea for probably the last 20 years. I've got a CPAP machine, and the biggest change in my life my wife has changed the bed base in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Would that make a specific difference? I'm not sure, Tom, whether you're up to CPAP machines or whatever, but I was just wondering what's going on.
Sorry, Nev, you cut out halfway through. Sleep apnea?
Sorry? Yeah, sleep apnea, that's correct. Yep. And my wife changed the bed, and I've never slept better in my life.
Never slept better.
Oh, she changed the bed, did she?
Yeah.
No. She changed the base of the bed.
The base of the bed.
Yeah. She changed the base of the bed. Absolutely fantastic. Sleep apnea is look. I'm very happy to hear you have it diagnosed. Are you using the CPAP machine?
Yes, I am, because Vic roads are involved, and I've got to use it to keep my licence.
Absolutely.
But the last couple of weeks since she's changed that base, the bed feels higher, it feels better, it's more firmer, and I just can't believe. Like, I've gone from maybe 20 or 30 episodes an hour down to about 6 in the last week.
That's amazing. I mean, look, it's the first thing to look at, really. It sounds obvious, right? I mean, you spend at least, well, I'm hoping you spend about 8 hours a night, which is about 36% of your life asleep, and your bed is critical to that. Keeping, support, because what happens with sleep apnea and snoring is there's a collapse in the tissues of the neck, and that can close the airway. With sleep apnea, the airway is being closed. So having proper alignment in your bed and support can help keep that airway open. You're using the gold standard when it comes to the CPAP machine for sleep apnea, and it is a serious condition. So I'm really happy that you've dealt with that. I'm happy to hear also that your sleep has improved, but it's obviously the alignment there, because it can be mechanical, it can be caused by various issues, including a narrow airway. But if you're having success with it and avoiding alcohol and keeping the weight down and not smoking and all those other things, then you're doing fantastically well.
Yeah, because they're all related. You want to say something?
Yeah, Tom, one of the things that we do totally underrate, and you made the point, but one of the things we underrate is looking at our own bedding, looking at the mattress, looking at the sheets. You know, I tell my shift workers when they get out of bed after their week of night shift to put the sheets in the wash, to put fresh sheets on, because everyone loves sleeping in fresh sheets. But looking at a new mattress, looking at a new pillow, finding the right pillow, the right temperature in your room, we underestimate all of the impacts that these things have, don't we?
Absolutely. Look, sleep is a game of percentages, right? Yep. Now, I was lucky enough to be given a bed. I was a brand ambassador for a bed company in Ireland. They gave me this fantastic bed. And I'll tell you what, we've had it now for the last 2 or 3 years, and I've said, look, I would easily pay like 2,000 or 3,000 for this, no problem, because it's instantly improved my sleep, and I cannot feel any movement from, you know, my partner, your partner. It's independently sprung bed. It's just amazing. So it's an investment in your health, I would say. So first place to look, low-lying fruit.
Hey, Rob in Melbourne Town, say hello to Tom in Dublin.
G'day, Tom. A few years back, mate, I went for a driver's medical, and the doctor in question judged me by my body mass index on the assumption I had sleep apnea. Now, as a result, I've had to sleep with a machine, and I average between 0.3 to 0.4 events per hour. Now, what the hell is that supposed to mean? I've spoken to another bloke who sleeps with the machine, and he says, you're not as bad as what they say you are. They're only covering their backsides.
Mm.
Yeah, well, look, a proper assessment is really important. So the events that are happening are you're either, what they describe as an event is you're stopping breathing.
Yep.
Right, and usually this happens in stage 3 sleep, which is the deepest part of your sleep. So they will assess you based on how many events per hour you have, and then you'll qualify as having sleep apnea or not. There is a health risk. Sleep apnea can raise your blood pressure, increase your risk for cardiovascular disease, and things like that. So it's really important that you get a handle on it. As you're a driver as well, driver fatigue. I mean, you're at danger there if you build up what we call sleep debt, if you miss out on sleep every night, then you're more at risk then when it comes to falling asleep or experiencing what are known as micro sleeps, where you don't even realize you've been asleep for a few seconds, and they're uncontrollable and you cannot predict them. So I suppose, you know, the events are stopping breathing. That's what they're speaking about. And, you know, that proper assessment, you know, there is a test online called the Stop Bang test. You can look that up. It's a series of questions to see if you fit into the category. But, you know, I think have a chat to your GP. I mean, how do you feel? Not maybe after you wake up. How do you feel throughout the day, throughout the shift? That's something to consider. You feel like you're tired, you're falling asleep, drowsiness, things like that, energy levels.
All of the above. Rob, thank you. It's a great call. When we come back, more of your calls, 133693. Roger Sutherland's here. I'm Tony Mack. And Tom Coleman, sleep and health consultant expert based in Dublin. More the other side of this. Roger Sutherland, regular contributor to the Australia Overnight program, A Healthy Shift, and our special guest is Tom Coleman in Dublin. Just an off-air caller. Tom asked the question, ADHD, people that have ADHD, linked in occasionally, sometimes, always to sleep issues, connected?
Yeah, I find, they have great difficulty with sleep onset. It's kind of that, you know, winding down. Anyone on the spectrum will tend to have issues around sleep. So, your routine is critically important here. That you establish a good routine in the 1 to 2 hours leading up to bedtime, and it's about winding down on stress, because as Roger will know, I say that the same systems that control stress control sleep. So it's being highly activated, and it's a bit like the phone at night. It's about the text being on the phone. If you're scrolling, that's the activity that's stimulating the brain and the systems. So if there's any level of overstimulation, whether it be from ADHD or your phone, then guess what? You're going to struggle with sleep, and then you're going to be tired. And
it's also it's a two-way pathway as well, isn't it, Tom? Like we see a lot of people that suffer with poor sleep also have poor mental health.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing, Roger, and you've hit the nail on the head. In 100% of mental health issues, there are sleep issues.
Yes.
It's a two-way issue. So it's critically important that we kind of and I know you alluded to the isolation and the loneliness earlier on. I mean, there was a report done by the World Health Organization fairly recently to say that loneliness and isolation are really on the increase. It's impacting mental health, and of course, they're all tied up together. Then your sleep is absolutely impacted as well.
Yeah, so a lot of that comes from the poor light too, doesn't it, Tom? Like a lot of people, like through COVID, a lot of people were spending a lot of time indoors where they're under that unhealthy light and they're not getting that daylight. Can you just speak about how important getting daylight is? Because I think this is a key contributor for a lot of people. They spend too much time inside.
Yeah.
Oh, I think, Roger, we've removed ourselves from the two things that really protect our health, and that's the environment and other people. Now, we talk about light. Light in sleep science is known as the master when it comes to being a lever on your circadian rhythm. It's the number one Zeitgeber or time giver. So what happens with light? When we get lots of light in the brain, we get lots of something called serotonin. And serotonin is needed to make the sleep hormone melatonin. Like when we were kids, we were sent out, get outside to play. Yep. I can hear my mother saying, it's the fresh air. You get a great night's sleep. So the more light you get when you're active, then actually the higher your melatonin levels will be and the higher your serotonin will be. So you're reducing the risk of things like seasonal affective disorder or just other areas which light can really impact.
Yeah, and when we get that light, it is just so important, and we don't realise getting that early light in the morning is what sets us up for sleep at night. And one thing that I just wanted to talk about...
Or sleep anytime, really. I mean, we just assume that we're talking also about people who, by definition, because of their job, have to sleep during the day.
Yeah, well, we do, but we've also got to adjust. We are still diurnal creatures, and we still need... You can't live in a night... You can't become a nocturnal human.
I do.
What?
How well do you do that, I would say?
Yeah, well, that's always the good question, isn't it, Tom? How well do you do it?
Thank you very much. Well, this is my final program of Australia Overnight, and it's been lovely to talk to you all.
I think one of the best contributing factors for us to look at is when we travel, and majority of us that are listening will have travelled across time zones. When we travel overseas, what do we do? How is it we retrain our time clock? And it's always we get up early, we eat at the new time zone times, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We're getting early movement as well. So it re-entrains our time clock to that time zone. And
correct.
So it takes a few days, doesn't it?
It takes a few days. The first light that you mentioned does several things to the brain, okay? So the first light after waking, whether that's at 6 a.m. or 2 p.m., your first light, the first and brilliant thing it does is it clears the grogginess. I talked to you earlier about sleep pressure. That's a chemical called adenosine that builds up. So the chemical of adenosine is what pushes you and keeps you asleep. When we wake in the morning and you're really tired and you're hitting the snooze button, it's because there's lots of adenosine floating around. And what most people do is go downstairs and drink coffee. Now, coffee will block the tiredness receptor in the brain, and then 6 or 8 hours later, it floods back in. The fastest way to clear that adenosine naturally is light.
Sunlight.
So if, for example, you're waking up at 2 a.m., you have to get up at 12 o'clock, a light box is a really good idea because that will clear that. It also sets a timer in your brain for melatonin release 14, 16 hours later. Okay?
Fantastic.
So light is important. And the other thing it does is it boosts cortisol levels. And you want that early when you wake up or whatever time you're waking up at.
Gets you going,
cortisol activation, right?
Fantastic. So, Tom, we want to say thank you so much.
It's just a delight, thrill to have you on the program. If people want to know more, they can have a look at your website, which is tomcoleman.com. That's www, all the W's, tomcoleman.ie is the best way to do it, Tommy.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope to see you in person someday soon.
Well, when are you coming to Australia? Have you been much to Australia?
Not yet, but it's definitely on the cards, my friend. Yeah, I've got a lot of friends out there working shift, and I've got family out there, so it's only a matter of time.
There's some great Irish people here too. Ian Dunnican, and I've had dinner with Danny Lennon, and all of the Irish people that have escaped Ireland. They're great people.
We'll get you over for March 17.
Oh, that'd be great. So, yeah, special shout out to Julian Doyle and Fred English there in Oz. They're doing great work over there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tom.
What could go wrong?
Thank you so much, guys.
How wonderful is he? Tom Coleman. Just fantastic,
man. He does great work.
We will have this, and we'll come back more in just a moment for Australia Overnight. Hello. You said he was really good, Rog. Tom Coleman. He was a fabulous guest, wasn't he?
He's another Irishman doing fantastic things here. Yeah. A lot of Irish are doing really good things in the research area for shift workers. Doing great work. Ian Dunnican's over in Perth doing a lot for the FIFOs, for the fly-in, fly-out shift workers up there, doing great work for them as well. So another Irishman. So, he's really, really good. Only bring the best, of course, if I'm going to put someone on.
Thank you very much. Tomcoleman.ie. The website is tomcoleman.ie. Thank you for coming in. That hour just flies.
I know, it always does. It flies. But having great guests like that really helps. It was really good. I ran a seminar yesterday for the policewomen in Victoria Police.
Yeah.
Victoria Police.
Fantastic.
Victoria Police.
How many?
I had 24 people in the room, and I had 22 online watching on Teams.
Yeah, well done you.
Anybody looking for seminars for shift workers, I'm available.
To do it. Good
Thank you for having me.
All right, mate. We'll talk again in a couple of weeks' time. The website, have a look at ahealthyshift.com with Roger Sutherland. Your calls the other side, Australia Overnight. I'm Tony Mack. Good morning wherever you are, right across Australia.